Thank you very much for the opportunity to the audio developer conferences. Um, I am a really big fan of the ADC videos in YouTube. I've spent a lot of hours um, watching and learning, so great to be able to give something in return. I decided to present this from idea to online sale talk because I wished when I started I had some of the details that I will show you. That is not only to build a plugin, it's not only to develop the audio processor, the audio plugin editor, and just the development part. There are a tons of other details that you will have to work. So yeah, that's my idea, just to give a really quick summary of things to take into account when developing audio plugins. So to tell you a little bit about me, I'm Joaquin Saavedra. I'm from Uruguay, and I studied music production, sound design. In parallel, I did electrical engineering and computer science. Never finished those. But yeah, I have more than 5 years of experience in the audio plugin industry, and I've worked in more than 20 projects all over the the spectrum of experiences, good experiences and really bad experience. But those are the ones from where I learned more. And yeah, usually clients have great ideas, and I love to help them bring them into reality. And there's always a lot. I'm kind of in the business part a lot. So yeah, this year I've co-founded and I'm the CEO also at Edge Audio Labs. So in Edge Audio Labs, we provide software development services for other companies who want to make real their ideas. And it's specific for audio and music industry. So in that sense, I feel like I can add value to this topic, or I have some experience, because my job is basically looking for clients that want to develop audio plugins or other types of audio software, and then make them. They come just with the idea, and we have to make it reality. And that is kind of the overview of what I'm going to talk today about. So yeah, to give you a little overview, and the idea is to see here the full picture of the what I'm going to talk about. So we always start from an idea. Then the idea is to create a plan, develop the software. That's usually, this is the point where us, and I say us because it's the audio developer conference, where we think and spend most of the time, and we think a lot of this specific step, but we tend not to think a lot about the other steps that are involved. So yeah, there's testing, copy protection, installers, online sell, customer support, and really a huge amount of other stuff to consider. And I think kind of planning all this is the key thing that I wanted to tell you. Like, we have to plan every step of one of each of the steps of these ones. And what we really want to avoid, and this is why I think it's important, is like this. That is, a lot of the times is what really happens is that we plan, we make the installers, we develop something, we make a second version, we copy protect it, we test, we make the Windows version, and so on. So that's I think it's not comfortable for anyone, and it's important to see the full picture to try to avoid this. And one concept in this sense, one concept I really make, I want to make this point, is like, all the time try to think one step further and think what is going to happen next. What is the next plugin that I'm going to launch? What is that the user is going to want next month, or when I launch version 2 or whatever? Always try to think that one step further. to avoid problems and miscommunications. So yeah, starting from point one, you always need one idea, and I say one because we can do all the ideas at the same time. Usually we try, or people who are doing plannings try to do all the ideas or try to make everything in one product. It's useful to start by one idea and making it one product. And we have to analyze which is the unique value that is adding, and if there is a gap in the market that we can fill. Maybe there are tons of the same plugins that you're doing, and it's probably not going to work that well, rather than if it's very unique and there are not other solutions similar to it. So yeah, think about the target user, look for references. This is very important. And then start to get early feedback. Talk with your friends, with colleagues, to try to understand if it's just that you love your own idea, that happens a lot, or if other people also like your idea. And then I think that writing it down, documenting, and refining it is very important. Just to know, which are, I don't know, your target users. Are you going to target musicians, producers, audio pros, I don't know, sound designers? It's very different. So writing it down, it's very useful for one to get more clear on the idea. And another really big point I want to make in this presentation is learn to say no. This is really a common issue. Like, we can't have every feature in our plugin. We just can't. It's impossible. And when we get like too perfectionists, it's the project becomes endless. You start fixing up things. So I think we have to learn to say no. And when we reach, I don't know, the 98% of what we want, just launch it and trust your idea and just launch it. So the second point, I think, is the most important point on all the things, that the steps that we have to do, is to create a plan. So is the most important part, and it has to do with the technical description, but also has to do with a lot of marketing and business side. Here in the technical description, I wrote like supported platforms. Are we going to launch for the formats for which of the operative systems? Obviously, what actually does and how it does it. Every feature has to be in the technical description. The technologies we're going to use. Are we going to use Juice or just Juice, or any extra thing needed? Maybe we need PyTorch. Maybe we need some time stretching libraries. It's very important to plan the timeline. If we have any deadlines, are we going to, I don't know, target to sell on Black Friday or in Christmas? I don't know. It's important to have it planned, and each week what is going to happen, how are we going to advance, so we are very clear. And the same with, obviously, with the financial plan, that sometimes developers are not doing the financial plan, but we have to be aware of what is going to happen and what costs are involved in each of the stages. Then it comes the fun part, at least for me, the software development. And I separated this into the user interface, user experience part, and the DSP part. So in the user interface and user experience part, we have to start by paper, and then design it, actually do a design in Figma or any equivalent application. And it's important for me, and a point that really happened to me a lot, is like we need to plan all the interactions, not only the buttons and sliders, but also the hovers, pop-ups, meters, shortcuts, like the keyboard shortcuts. What happens if the user has the plugin open and we just start to press? Do we want something to happen? That has to be planned from the scratch, and has to be agreed in all the team, animations and all other kind of interactions. And then implement the design into code. Then in the DSP or processing, because maybe you don't have actually a lot of digitals in the processing, but you might have other type of audio processing. I recommend to start in a prototype or an MVP. That Python is very useful for that, like just to check that I know how to do this processing and it works correctly. I also recommend to look for solutions. Like if you're doing, I don't know, distortion, maybe there are some already open source plugins or other projects that where you can get real good analog distortions, and you don't have to implement everything from scratch. Then obviously implementing in C++, that probably is the thing that takes most of the time. And it's very important to have critical listening, people who knows what they're hearing and listen not a lot. And then it comes the optimization, where we have to test and be sure that works on all the real with all the real time constraints that we have. So this is the fun part, and then from here, at this point, the product is not at all finished. There are a lot of steps that has to be done from here. So I'll continue with those, but it's important to make that point. This just when we have the plugin developed, there's a lot of things to go until we actually make the business work. So then about testing, obviously we have to test while we develop. So we will have some internal functional testing to check that things are working when we develop. But then, well, as I already said, we have to do critical listening testing, alpha testing. That means in an internal team have build that everyone's test and documents and solves the problems. And then I really make this point important, the beta testing, like have a group of people external to the development team that will test and report all the problems. This is very important. They will test in a variety of circumstances that you might not think about. So here's when problems start to arise if something is not correctly developed. Then the compatibility testing, like testing in different DOS and in different operative systems. Obviously, versions is something really important to take into consideration. Another point I have to make is like in the audio side, sometimes testing in a lot of buffer sizes, sample rates, test the latency. It's also very important and could be problematic. Then it comes the copy protection. So we can use external solutions like iLog or other solutions that are already made, but we have to integrate. So this is something to consider. Building a plugin also requires to copy protect it. You can build your own solution. We have done that at HRB Labs, and it works, but takes a lot of time, obviously, and it's something that you will do if you can, and then you will reuse it. If not, you're not going to make it. So in that case, you will need to develop an API in connection with your plugin. Maybe you can make an installer hub where the user will have all your plugins. You will need to think what happens if the plugin gets cracked. So you don't want that to happen. So maybe you will use activation codes and then, or maybe you use username and passwords. There are different ways of implementing this. So you have to think about this. For example, other things to consider is how many activations per cell are you going to offer to each of the users? Can they activate in infinite amount of computers or just 2 computers, for example? How are you going to manage that? That is very important to think before launching, obviously. The same with the trial. How long is the trial? How does the trial works? Then the installers, things to consider. Have a convention on the naming of the versions, for example, that one. But you have to be consistent so the users know what to expect and where to look when they're going to download, have all the versions available. I recommend these applications to create in Mac and Windows. Use the Ino setup. I think are the most common. Code signing here is very important. This is something you might need to start thinking from the beginning. Is something that I usually recommend to my clients to start thinking about getting the Apple Developer Program and the Microsoft Azure Trusted Signing in place once we start to develop, because there's some stuff that takes time because you have kind of bureaucracies. And yeah, you have to have some documentation sometimes to have those, but it's really important to consider. And obviously, they have some costs. Then, well, considering the installers has to install all the dependencies, maybe libraries or others, and you need to be worried about the compatibility of the installers. Then it comes the online sell. So you obviously need to plan to do a marketing plan. Social networks have your pricing. Are you going to do like I don't know, bundles, for example? How are you going to launch it? Are you going to sell one-time purchase, subscriptions, freemium? That's I have a typo there. Like, are you going to offer freemium model? That's something to think about. And then obviously the sell channels is important. Obviously, the main way of selling is building your own web. Maybe you have it. Maybe you need to build it. So if you're planning to build a plugin, start thinking about, or I need to have a web that I can sell, maybe integrate through Shopify, Stripe, PayPal, or whatever you are going to receive the payments. Put a place where the users can download the installers. Well, and, about the payments I was saying, all those details are things that you have to consider. So yeah, and then the customer support. So you will have to have a frequently asked questions in your website. Think about which problems can the user have, will the user have. So try to fix those and in the web, and yeah, communicate with your users through different channels. The forums presence is very important in my experience, so I really recommend, like, I don't know, Gearspace or Sand on Sand forum on Reddit, even Reddit. But try to answer your users in the social network also, and prioritize fixes when you have to. And then here I did a list of other stuff to consider. That I think there is a lot of things here. Documenting, paid patents are things I've never thought that I was going to write a patent, but I had to in some projects, because when you have intellectual property to protect, you have to be dealing with those kind of things, or licensing, maybe artists, or financial and legal things. Legacy support is a problem, that something we have to consider, and long-term support and infinite things. So here, like, my conclusion that I want to give you is try to think all over this. I try to just bring up questions and show you the entire thing, the entire path of from the idea to what it actually takes to build a business and a plugin around an audio plugin. But my conclusion is you have to create a plan considering all of these things, and basically plan as much as you can. Even if you know that you will probably end up changing some of the things you planned, it's important to plan. And always plan with a time frame, and plan financial plan. So plan the money that we are going to spend in everything, and plan and write your plan and share it with the team and with the clients and with all the people and with your co-founders the plan. This is really important. So I think that was all. I will be for the question and answer in Gather and the Discord channel. I will share the slides, and there you have my email and my LinkedIn if you want to feel free to contact if you have any questions or whatever. And yeah, you can also visit our site at edgeaudiolabs.com. We do fun stuff, and if you ever need any extra hands on a project, you can reach out to us, and we will, hopefully help you, and we can collaborate. So, I think that was it. Really, thank you for the opportunity to the Audio Developer Conference.